Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is facing new backlash over her insane conspiracies and lies. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell condemning Greene's actions, calling it a, quote, cancer for the Republican Party, end quote. House Democrats issuing an ultimatum to force Congresswoman Greene to be stripped of her committee assignments, including the Education Committee, or they say they will take action. Joining us now is Fred Guttenberg. His daughter Jamie was one of the 17 people killed in the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. He's also the co-founder of Orange Ribbons for Jamie. Also with us, Democratic Congressman Ted Deutch, who represents the Florida district that includes Parkland. Gentlemen, great to see both of you. Fred, what are you calling for? What do you want Congressman Kevin McCarthy to do today when he reportedly will meet with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
First, good morning and thank you. I want Kevin McCarthy to grow a spine today. He needs to do more than talk. And if we've learned one thing, with her comments yesterday, she's really not going to change what she has to say about anything. Kevin McCarthy needs to tell her to leave. You know, we're in the middle now of a 17-day lead up to February 14th, and every one of these days we're going to honor one of those who was lost on February 14th. Today is the day where my local community is actually going to honor Jamie. It happened. It is real. And while she's making comments that really are making no sense to try and undo some of the damage, she can't. Kevin McCarthy, if Kevin McCarthy wants to actually have any chance of being a leader going forward, he needs to get rid of her today. This is not an option.
Congressman, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene has done, we've seen a lot of stuff that has come out that she has done. I don't know what's more dangerous. I don't know what's more reprehensible and disgusting. She's threatened the life of Nancy Pelosi. She's promised violence against President Obama and Hillary Clinton. As we know from the tape that Fred himself put out on social media, she chased after David Hogg, one of the student survivors of Parkland, to heckle him and to threaten him, basically. And so what do you, first of all, what's taking Kevin McCarthy so long, do you think, Congressman? And what do you want to see happen today?
Well, good morning, Alisyn, and it's good to be with Fred always. I can't tell you what's in Kevin's mind. I don't understand the lack of leadership. I don't understand the refusal to acknowledge that when someone engages in conspiracy theories and dangerous racist and anti-Semitic and Islamophobic lies, when someone harasses kids who are trying to keep their fellow classmates safe and insults the memory of the loved ones lost by Fred and so many others around the country, I don't understand why Kevin McCarthy can't simply say there's just no place for this person on any committee, but especially on the House Education Committee, whose job is to help keep our kids safe. So he's got to make the decision. It's a line in the sand moment for him and his caucus. But if he refuses to do the right thing, then someone's got to stand up for the integrity of the House, the memory of the lives lost, and for people like Fred. And that's what we're going to do. If Kevin McCarthy won't act, we will.
And what would you do, Congressman? What can Democrats do?
Well, Kevin McCarthy's been given the opportunity to take action on his own, to strip Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments so that she can't spew these dangerous lies and she can't talk about school shootings as false flag events from her perch on the Education Committee. If he doesn't do that, then the House is going to move forward on its own to strip her of those committee assignments. I hope that he will act, but if he doesn't, we will.
And Congressman, what about her warning? So Marjorie Taylor Greene is unapologetic. She said she'll never apologize. And what about her warning on Twitter yesterday, where she says, if Democrats remove me from my committees, I can assure them that the precedent they are setting will be used extensively against members on their side once we regain the majority after the 2022 elections. And we will regain the majority, make no mistake about that. I mean, her warning, who knows if they'll regain the majority, but her warning is Democrats should be careful of what they do now because, you know, revenge could come back to haunt you all at some point.
Alisyn, can we stop talking about politics for a second? We're worried about statements that she's making about what she's going to do as a member of Congress. Can we go back to what happened here? The fact that she's been spewing these dangerous, hateful, awful conspiracy theories, that she harassed kids, that she insults the memory of people whose lives have been taken at the hands of killers through gun violence, which Congress must and will act on. That's what this is about. So we can have time for discussions about politics later. Right now, we're calling on Kevin McCarthy to do the right thing, to be a leader. Frankly, and I didn't think I'd ever say this, to listen to Mitch McConnell and acknowledge that someone who does everything that we've been talking about just doesn't belong on the House Education Committee setting policies that are going to influence our kids.
Fred, how do you as a father deal with this? You're Jamie's father. How do you deal with somebody who is an elected official saying that these things didn't happen, that Parkland, maybe it was a false flag, that maybe it was some sort of grand scheme, that maybe Sandy Hook didn't happen? I mean, what happens to your head when you hear somebody say something like that?
You know what, Alisyn, and I think you've got to know me over the years, I stand up and I call it out. You know, you asked about her warning. Her warning is so meaningless and so irrelevant, and who cares? This is a woman who has said, because of my last name, I carry a laser. This is a woman who has called some of our nation's most amazing kids retards. Who cares about her warning? This is a woman who has said, my daughter, who's on that photo behind me, was a false flag, who said Sandy was a false flag, who said Las Vegas was a false flag, and has a conspiracy theory built around all of it as well. Her warning is meaningless. It's irrelevant. She should be shown her way back to Georgia, and that's where she should stay. She should not be anywhere around the halls of Congress.
Fred, Congressman, thank you both very much for being here. Fred, we're thinking of you, as we do so often, but particularly as February 14th approaches this year. We really appreciate you always being available and coming on to talk about this. We know it isn't easy.
Thank you.